This video is all about this Ugreen 600 watt, 680 watt hour portable power station. You may have heard of Ugreen before. They make some other power stations and they've been around for quite some time, but this is their entry into the market for decent sized power stations, and they do a 600 watt one and they do a 1200 watt one. There we go. People always ask what it'll power, so thankfully they've put it on the box. So there you go. Drones, laptops, cameras, projectors, TVs. Also got some interesting features. It's obviously got a built-in MPPT, so you can plug solar straight into it. It's got an automatic switchover, as well as being a lithium phosphate new generation 4 battery. It has some interesting features, and we're seeing this quite often now on quality products with the lithium phosphate battery. It's got the U turbo on this one, which supports devices up to 1500 watts. So this is a 600 watt inverter in it, with 680 watts of power, so watt hours. So if you used to use 680 watts, it would last an hour, and that's how much power it would give out. So to enable it to give out the 1500 watts, they have a configuration inside an electronic device which drops the voltage and ups the amps. So some devices might run slightly slow with it, but it still enables them to run. But if you have a device that needs more power to start with, this will do it because of that function. And of course, lithium phosphate, super fast charging, 80% in 50 minutes. And of course, you get the life cycles. So the lithium phosphate generation 4 batteries, 3000 plus life cycles. And what that means is you can use this flat to charge, flat to charge, flat to full charge, up to 3000 plus times, and then you'll start to lose some of the volume of the capacity. So you'll start to lose some of the 680 watt hours. It'll still produce 600 watts of power output through the inverter, but it'll start to drop down, and they usually drop down to about 80%. But if you think about it, 3000 discharges and charges, you're probably talking about 10 years. There's some of the dimensions on there. You can freeze frame that if you want to catch all that information. Switch it on, there's an on and off button there, DC on and off there. It also comes with the light, and it has the standard light, flashing light, and the strobe. I'll show you the display inside because it's a bit too bright out here. You have 2 USB fast charges and 2 USB charges. Both of them are 100 watts. That's 22.5, as is that one. You have these little barrel connectors, not really used that much in the UK, but can be used for LED lights and various other things. And the obligatory cigarette socket. On the side, 2 3-pin plugs, and they're placed on an angle because if there was that way, the cable would be in the wrong way. Fan on the end, and on this side you get your charging inputs. So there's a reset button. That's a reset button. If it trips out, that's your main power supply. So it doesn't come with a power brick. It has like a kettle lead. We call them a 3-pin kettle lead, so you can charge it from mains, and that's your input to charge it from a car using a 12 volt system, or plug in a solar panel. This here is an earthing link. You tend to get them on various devices now if you want to put an earth spike into the ground or earth it to a unit. People who've watched my channel for some time will know I'm not particularly a fan of power units of this size having a handle on the top. But that said, this is a low profile handle, and it has got the inputs on the side to charge it, and the power switch, the power sockets on this side as well. So it does limit where you can actually store it. But it would have been better for me, and it's my preference, if it ever had a fold down handle and more sockets on the front. But that is a personal preference. But all the other features and being a LiFePO 4 battery makes this a really decent piece of kit. So in the box you get this piece of kit which has got some great instructions on the back of how everything works, and the timing charges, the charging times even, and all the functions. And there's a QR code as well to go to the app. But the actual box contains a little pouch, a Ugreen pouch, to put your cables in. Because what tends to happen after you've got a few different devices, you forget which cable's for which device. So having a little pouch for it with the nib on might sound silly, but really useful. You get the barrel connector power lead for these little sockets on here. A very comprehensive instruction book. Car charging lead, which plugs in the side. 12 volts. So you can charge it as you're driving along. A solar connector lead for solar, and you can put 2 solar panels on this lead. You also get a power lead, no charging brick, just a 3-pin 13 amp plug, molded fitted. We call them kettle leads to charge it with it, and they plug in the side. So everything you really need. Is a 600 watt inverter, but it has that new turbo feature. So this kettle will plug into here, and we'll see how much power that takes to charge. There it's on. So it's 620 watts. Now this is a 800 watt kettle. So it says it's pushing out here 623 watts. And what's actually happening there is that the device is pushing out its maximum power, but it's dropped some of the voltage and up the ampage to enable it to charge this. So it will charge this and will charge devices up to 1500 watts, which is incredible, but it will run slower. You probably won't notice it, but it will run slightly slower. So if you had something like a drill or a mixer, it might not just spin as fast, but it'd still spin, which is a great idea, because many products need a lot of power to start up, or old-fashioned versions with this, less developed versions of power units like this would just shut down, they'd just trip off. So it's good having that additional device, and other devices have it, but on this one it's called U-Turbo, as in Ugreen as the maker of the product. I don't know if you can hear it now, but that kettle's boiling, or coming up to boil. It still says it's only putting out 623 watts. It's a nice easy display. This side of it tells you how much power is going out and how long it will last, how much power is in the device, and this is when you're charging it and how long it will take to charge. The fans are reasonably quiet on this as well. They are running. It's probably one of the quietest fans I've heard on a unit of this size. So it's undoubtedly a quality product. And you can tell this company's been around for a while, and they haven't just broken into the market and produced something and just think it'll do. There's been a lot of thought gone into certainly the technology and the quality of the products built into this. So there it is, running a air fryer, and that air fryer is about 1000 watts, and again it just says it's at its 623 watts. If you can see that on the screen, but it's definitely running that. So this U-Turbo definitely works within the unit. It's very impressive, isn't it? This is the app. It's really easy to use. You can either use it through the internet, or you can use it through Bluetooth. This is currently using Bluetooth. There's a little button on here to switch on the Bluetooth, and you just link it and it finds it quite straightforward. So on here it gives you a symbol of how much power is in the unit, and it's really easy to use, how much power is going in, how much is going out, how long it'll last, and then you can switch various things on. So AC, DC, and then your USBs, and you can also switch the light on, the different options there. If you go into the settings, there's a lot more settings in there. So automatic shutdown, the screen settings, operation mode, This is the turbo, so the turbo side of stuff you could switch off if you don't want to use it. So it's got the functionality on here to do practically everything. You can alter the ampage of the DC side, you can change the frequency of the AC, where I see on 50 Hz in the UK. So a nice, easy, straightforward app to use. For the final test, it's plugged in the AC and it's into our transfer box here. That transfer box, if you've seen our channel before, links into the main fuse box into our cottage. So this, once I switch that switch over, will put all the power from this to run the cottage. There's not a lot of things switched on at the moment, but it's a good way of testing the inverter in this. So we'll switch this off from mains power and we'll turn it over to generator. So now this is running the cottage and you can see the watts building there. And we'll just check the lights. So it can do it. Well, that's running it at the moment, no problem. And it's a good test because if it's a poor inverter, it'll flick the switches off on this. So that again proves it's a good piece of kit. Now I am going to give this one away, but this one's going to be a bit different. The first part of the process is the same, so you need to be a subscriber. It's a UK model, so you need to live in the UK. So I'm afraid it's only available for people in the UK. You need to be a subscriber, as I say, and you need to put the same old words in the comments of this video, I want one, and then keep an eye out for when I do the review of the 1200 version of the Ugreen power unit. And I'll announce the winner of the giveaway for this in that video. And you can also see the difference between this one and the 1200 version as well. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.